Hello, lovely people. It's Sunday afternoon, and as promised in my last vlog, I've been spending quite a lot of time down here playing with crafty things. I took some footage of the watercolor and acrylic and decoupage messing about I did already. It's all just sitting there waiting to dry for me to use it all somehow. It's playtime today, and I have been messing around with watercolors so far, some blues. It's just sketchbook paper. I didn't find any watercolor weight paper in my sewing room, so it's a little thin for this, but that's okay. It's just for fun. Greens, yellows, pinks, browns. And then I got the acrylics out and I painted some lids of containers I've saved. And I'm hoping to try some decoupage on those. And while those have been drying, I've been doodling. Terrible doodling. But I had this adult colouring book sitting around, which I have got lots of pages still untouched in. So I've been playing with my gel pens, but they don't really like this paper. They're not writing very smoothly on this paper, so they're obviously better suited to a less glossy sort of finish. And then what I did is decided that it was time to play with fabric. So I got the sewing machine back here on the table, got rid of the paint and the glue. Didn't want them to get anywhere near each other, if you know what I mean. And got the ironing board set up. Went through my Christmas fabrics at least twice. And in the end, what I decided to do was cut some 6.5-inch squares out of these fabrics, and I'll show you them. And what I originally thought I could do was to use a light canvas as the contrast. But once I had cut the squares out and figured out my contrast squares, I realized I needed slightly more than what I have in the stash. So this is what I'm hoping to make. It's called a snowball block. I don't know, can you see that? It's a very basic block. You just cut a big square, and then you cut 4 smaller squares, and then you place the smaller square right there. Sew across the middle of the small square. You actually draw a line, so it makes it easy. You sew across the smaller square, maybe just a hair away from the middle of the block. Fold it, like iron it, and then trim the backing bits so that there's only one layer of fabric there. So you do that on all 4 corners, and it's called a snowball block. And I thought that would be really appropriate for a Christmas quilt. So I went ahead and did these. So the ones I started with, the ones I was inspired by, was a small set of slightly heavier quilt cottons. So I have a holly, and I have dachshunds, wiener dogs if you like, and I have this one that's got the writing all over it. And then this Scandinavian inspired set of fabrics just seemed to go with it, because they have the same off-white sort of natural look to the background color. So yeah, I've got the green snowflakes, the red snowflakes, the red dots. Sorry, the light's off to the side. Hopefully you can see this properly. And the green dots. And as I say, I had all this cut out, 6 squares of each one, so that's 42 squares, before I figured out that I wasn't going to have enough of the canvasy one. I had thought that it would be nice to have red or green as those little corner squares. I just didn't have the right fabric for that. And that's why I was going for the off-white. And I thought I could put a little Christmas ornament in the middle of each intersection. So where you're putting these squares together, you get a nice little secondary pattern happening right there. And I thought, okay, I could get some small ornaments from Michael's and sew one in the middle of each of those little sections. But seeing as I don't have enough of the canvas, I think I'm going to try and find just a solid red and make those the corners, and I think that'll be much prettier. I've also got some red bias binding. I don't like the idea of using bias binding on the edge, so here's what I think I'm going to have to do. And I just thought of this is when I go and pick up some red fabric for the triangles, I need 70 centimeters or about 27 inches. Then I could get extra for the binding, so maybe another ½ meter for that. I'm going to have to go to one of the quilt shops that I don't normally go to because, of course, I've always had Fabricland so close to me. But hey, might be a bit of an exciting trip out for a change. So I think this one is just going to have to be put on the back burner for a bit. And hopefully while I've been cutting these out, that stuff over there is drying out and I'll go and have a poke at it and see. After this one dried, I used my rubber stamp on it to make a repeating pattern. And I have used it to decoupage this mint tin. Unfortunately, when I brushed the glue on the top, the printer, not the printer ink, the ink pad ink did blur a little bit, but hopefully it'll be fine when it's dry. And then I used some ripped up paper to put on the top of this yellow lid and some pink floral paper Nicola to go on the outside of this lid. They're very, very sticky at the moment. I'm hoping they're going to completely dry. I'm not using Mod Podge, I'm using dilute school glue to attach the things to the tins and then full strength glue to go over the top. So I don't know if it's going to work out. I had a little play with my rubber stamps. So as this one on the blue looked so good, I had merry stamping time on the sheet of inky red watercolor paper. And I also had fun with some other stamps on the green. I also have these mixed media cards and envelopes that I bought years ago. Strathmore mixed media cards. I think I got them from an art shop in town. You get 10 cards and envelopes to a box. And it's nice heavy paper, heavier than that sketchbook paper for sure. The sketchbook paper is something like £65 a square. Oh, let me just check that. The sketchbook that I bought is 80 grams per square meter or £60 paper. And it's not really heavy enough for, as I said, watercolors because it wrinkles a lot. I know watercolor paper wrinkles too if you don't tape it down. But this one, the mixed media one, did say on there 300 grams per square meter or 140 pounds. So more than twice as heavy as the sketchbook. I'm running out of voice here. Must be time for another cup of tea. So I did something really simple, and I cut out the friends stamp on the pink page and deer on the green page, and I just stuck them on there with the double-sided tape. I feel like I want to write something in here as well, but I don't know what, and I don't want to ruin it, so I think I might wait until I know who this is for before I decide to write anything on it. And then for the matching envelope, I just did the deer stamp. I love that one. Most of my stamps I got from thrift stores, except for this little jar of them, this plastic jar of Christmas stamps I got from the dollar store for $4. Dollarama. Last year, I think. But the rest of them were super cheap because I just got them from some thrift store or another. So I think I'm going to make a couple more of these because I have this new box of them, but I had one that was mostly finished up, and so seeing as I have 3 left in that box, I'm just going to mess about a bit more. And then I think what I might do is go upstairs and get some couch time with the coat. Mr. Stitches has gone to the gym. Good for him. I'm not a member of that gym anymore, and I wasn't getting my money's worth because I wasn't going enough. So I let it lapse. But if I wanted to rejoin, it would be at least 4 times as expensive now. So I'm not going. And I probably would benefit a lot from some gym time. Not like we don't have the equipment at home. We have tons of weights and stuff at home. I could do it. I just don't. Because I'm lazy and I forget. So here is the second and third one that I made out of these watercolors and stamps. Fairies and ferns. That was that one. And then lastly, this guy here. Obviously, I've got gel pens in colors that will complement those, and if I ever come up with some sort of greeting or quote for that, I can add it in later. Well, it's getting dark outside. I think it's time to gravitate up to the couch. 7 a.m. Monday, November 24th. It's snowing. "8 a.m. It's been snowing ever since I got up. And it's settling. It's exactly 0 degrees. So it may melt a little bit later on. I just recorded a whole bunch of stuff and I realized it wasn't recording. I'm going to have to do it again. The découpage. I know I said that it's something I've been wanting to try for years, and I'm really glad I've tried it now. But I have to say it's probably not something I'm going to do a lot in the future because I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. So I'm glad I didn't invest in anything expensive in order to do it. But it was just so sticky and fiddly, and I just thought, yeah, I can't see myself doing this. This is how the yellow one worked out. Painted with the yellow acrylic paint and then strips of paper on top. I actually missed a bit. There's this little spot there where you can see the yellow paint through because I didn't put enough paper on it. The glue dried fine. So I suppose this is usable, but yeah, as I say, it's just probably not something I'm going to be excited about doing in the future. Pink lid. This was something from the Body Shop in there, like a British Rose body yogurt or something. Still smells of it. I just did the lid on that. And this mint tin is quite pretty. And I've got tons and tons of these saved up because I went through a whole jag of always having some mints in my handbag. And so I went through quite a lot of these Bartley's mints. And I was thinking if I save them, you know, I could put little gifties into them for people at some point. But I can't see myself decorating a whole ton of these. So that was one experiment that I'm glad I did, but it'll probably not be a new addiction, which is probably a good thing. The other thing I did since we last spoke is, because it's now Wednesday evening, is I went to the quilt store to get some fabric to go with these Christmas squares. I took a small piece of one of these fabrics with me and I bought this red fabric. It's a tonal, so it's not a solid red. It has different depths of red in there, which I really like. And I bought 1.2 meters because I did calculate that I'd need at least 70 centimeters for all of the 2.5-inch squares for these snowball blocks. And I'd need probably 30 centimeters for binding. So I bought an extra 20 centimeters because I hate the idea of running short. So the next big crafting time will be sewing. Today, I acquired a new to me thing, which I will show you in a bit. Something I've wanted for a really long time. I'll show it to you after I've wound the yarn left over from my Technicolor Dreamcoat. So all of those ends are in the process of being woven in. I took it with me to my friend's house while we were drinking coffee this morning. I was weaving. During the time I wasn't petting her cat, so there's probably quite a bit of cat hair on it now. And yesterday I got some done and I think I'm nearly there. So later in this video I should have a finished Technicolor Dreamcoat to show you. Maybe not without fastenings, not with fastenings, because I'm not sure if it's going to have fastenings or if it is, what they're going to be at this point. But I've got some real messy skeins left from that. They are piled up over here. I'm going to get my yarn. No, I'm not going to get my yarn swift out because they're messy skeins. I'm going to set up my yarn winder and do my best to get them all looking neat and tidy. And then I'll show you what I bought today. This little lot took far longer to wind than it should have taken because There was a lot of yarn bath. It did not run smoothly. Not the fault of my little yarn winder. Every skein of this, when I started it back at the beginning of the coat, gave me yarn bath issues, and so it didn't go out without a fight. Doesn't that look so much neater now? I love it. If you want to know all the colour names for these yarns, I just updated my Ravelry project page for the Technicolor Dream Coat. So you can just go to Nicolaknits and check it out. I have not logged quantities, not going to bother with that. And now for a reveal of something new to my sewing room. What do you reckon it is? Give you the chance to guess. You're probably right. Ta-da! It's a Janome serger. It's a Mylock 134D differential feed Janome. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. It's a small one. It's not the top of the range by any means. It's not got air threading. So I am going to have to learn how to take the threads from over at the back here, thread them through these little doohickeys, and let's see if I can figure out how to open this. You pull it out. There you go. First lesson. Pull that out. There's a little threading map on the inside there. And here's the foot. And I've got a few needles, a little toolkit here with some Schmetz overlock needles, a couple of screwdrivers and some tweezers. I know I'm going to need the tweezers for the threading, so I've been warned. And I'm looking forward to having a play with this. This is similar to the one I was looking at for years at Costco. Costco online, they have something like this. And it was $3.50, I think, when I first saw it, and then it went up to $3.99. It's probably more than that now. So I bought this one secondhand. But the cool thing is, it's from somebody I know, which I like because I have faith that she hasn't sold me a dud. Turns out, when I was going down this rabbit hole, totally coincidentally today, I ended up on Facebook Marketplace and I found this machine being advertised for sale. And when I looked at who it was someone I used to work with. And she's had it a while. She has a better serger, which has the air threading, so she didn't need to keep this any longer. And I thought, to heck with it, I'm getting it. So it doesn't take up a lot of room. Like if I slide this over and put my regular machine next to it, you'll see what size it is. My usual Janome isn't that large either. So there's my QDC, 4120 QDC, next to the serger. As you can see, it's pretty small. So what I'll have to do is I have to go online and have a look at a manual online and figure out how to use this. Because right now, I'm in the dark. But I'll work it out. Hopefully I can find some videos on it, because I think that would be the quickest way to learn it. Exciting news. The Technicolor Dream Coat, the project that I chose for my Slapdash Color Make Along 2024 project, is finished. At least it's as finished as it's going to get for a while, until I figure out whether it needs fastenings and whether it's going to get fastenings. Yeah. I'm not really sure what to do about that. Anyway, I'm going to put it on, but it's not going to go at all with the plaid shirt I decided to wear to work today. But never mind. We're all about clashing here. I will have to get some vertical video for a short so that you can see the full length look. Or maybe I'll climb on a chair again. I like climbing on chairs, don't I? Okay, I've already gelled my hair in place, but let's just do the hood as well. So there you go. There's the hood, all done. Sleeves. Hopefully I haven't made them too short. Can always add to them easily if I need to. Got the spare yarn. And the front band was just the simple stripes in half double crochet. So I think probably, because when it just hangs there, it doesn't cover my middle front, I might need just something to perhaps attach it here and then across the bust where there's a bit of extra width, shall we call it. Anyway, let me grab a chair. Of course, I left stuff on it yesterday from my new serger, so I have to clear the decks first. All right. Well, let's do this. So, there we go. Still can't see it all. All those ends got woven in. So I'm really happy that this got done in time for the end of November. Just thinking, if I put on buttons, I didn't leave button holes. Just looking at how big the holes are between my stitches. They're not that big. But if I was to make a loop, a button loop, like a crochet button loop, and then add a button somewhere if I wanted to. That is a decision for another day. I did weigh it on my digital scales and it's about 1,075 grams in weight. I'm not sure how many grams there are in one ball of Loops and Threads Impeccable. I'm not sure how many skeins that is. They're not 100-gram balls. They're bigger than that. But it's a lot of yarn. I think we can safely say that took a lot of yarn. Well, what day is it today? It's Thursday morning. I have work a bit later. So I'm going to call it Binny right here. And I will see you on Sunday for the start of Vlogmas. It'll probably go up late on Sunday. So those of you in the UK may not see it until Monday. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Got lots of fun things to do. And in the meantime, I think I should probably focus on learning how to thread my serger. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.